Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. Y'all, this is so ghetto. I am in my building at work, about to quickly do some makeup because I was running late, and I wasn't gonna be late because our reinsurers are here today. Let's do this. So this is the bathroom in my building, on the lowest level where the cafeteria is. Like, no one hardly ever comes in this bathroom, especially this early. And I think it's still a little bit before 7:30. Yeah, I gotta tell you about the dinner we had last night with the reinsurers. Oh my gosh. It just opened my eyes up to a lot. Like, I need to get on my A game. Like, there's so much money to be made in underwriting if you're good at what you do and get into the right places. I'm so blessed to have the opportunity that I had. Like, it's truly a blessing. Because I was just sitting at that table last night with all those brokers, and it was like 11 of us. Brokers and higher up management. I mean, people who like, they clearly like make 200K, 300K, 400K. And just, I don't know, God, just being in the room was a blessing. The food was good. We had like 4 courses. I'll tell y'all about it later. Okay, guys, this is the finished look. So simple, so natural. I didn't even really go full detailed brow, just something simple and natural. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this makeup and stuff back in the car, get my breakfast, go upstairs and work because we have meetings and presentations starting at 9 today. I have a full jam-packed day with the reinsurers, so this should be exciting. This should be exciting. Got my hair in just 2 little braids and a bun in the back. Very simple, very professional. Okay, let's get our day started. Hey guys, so I am on lunch break. I have literally been in meetings since 9 o'clock. It is a little bit after 1 now, and we were done with our meeting at 11, but then we got pulled into another meeting at 11. So I literally have not really done any of the work that I need to do because I've been in meetings all morning. Very good, very beneficial meetings. As those of you that follow the channel know, I am now underwriting management liability and cyber insurance policies. And so the reinsurer came into town to meet with our team. We went to a very nice dinner last night. We went to Snap Thai Fish House in Buckhead. And y'all, the food was so good. If I haven't already, I'm going to insert some pictures here. It was 11 of us, 3 or 4, well, about 4 or 5 represented my company, and then the other were from a brokerage firm, and then the other was the reinsurers, 2 of them. And so we had a really good time. It was just really nice experiencing that. Like, I really felt like I have to step my game up. Everyone at that table was just so successful, had been in insurance for years, either doing underwriting or compliance or on the broker side. And it was just really good to be in the room. It was really good to be in the room. I was like, thank you, Lord. Like, for a part of me was like, a part of me was like, I feel kind of out of place, but it's like, why can't I be there? You know? Why can't I be there? It really put a battery in my back to really learn this and really be successful in it. And that's what I plan to do. So, busy day of meetings. They went out to lunch, and I was just like, I need to go run some errands. So I skipped the lunch just because I want to come talk to y'all. Y'all know I have a story to give you. By the title, you can see. I have mentioned that I would talk about my bankruptcy story, and today is that day. I want to give a disclaimer, okay? I'm going to be very honest and real of my thought process how I got myself into the predicament, how I got myself out of the predicament, and where am I at today. And y'all, I'm gonna be so honest. I'm gonna tell you guys what my thought process was, like what I was thinking as a child. No, like it was childlike behavior. I mean, I wish I would have known what I know now about credit and paying your bills on time. And sometimes I even wonder, if I did know what I know now, would I have put that into practice? Because how my thought process was back then, like when I was in college and started getting credit cards and stuff, how my thought process was then, I don't know if I didn't know what I knew now, if I would have put that into action. But now that I'm older and a little bit more mature and realize how important credit is, and all of that in depth, like I just have to, I have to do better, and I am doing better. And I'm in a little bit of a hiccup now, but I'll get out of it the right way. But y'all, here is my bankruptcy story. So like I said, disclaimer, y'all, I'm gonna tell you how ignorant and immature my mind was back then. Do not judge me, okay? I would say I'm embarrassed, but I'm not embarrassed anymore, because you're only embarrassed when certain things like still affect you. And this is how my thought process was. So I'm gonna just say it. Y'all, I always thought back then, way back then, I want to say like coming out of high school, going into college, all of that, like this was my thought about credit. Like when I started getting credit cards and things like that, I'm gonna pay my credit cards, okay? If I have the money, I'm gonna pay my credit cards. If I don't have the money, I'm not gonna pay it. And this was my exact thought, guys. One day you're gonna have to die, and I mean, one day you're just gonna have to die, like, and then you won't get your money. Horrible, incorrect thought process. Don't know where I got that thought process from. I was just being so dumb and naive, and I lacked information. So I started getting credit cards, I want to say maybe when I was in college, like little maybe retail credit cards here and there, little, Capital One cards here and there, because those are the easiest ones to get when you don't have like any credit. So they were like small amounts, like $200, $250, $300. And as I mentioned, when I had the means to pay it, I would pay it. And if I didn't, I didn't, and they weren't that big of lines of credit where it was like, oh, you could get in like detrimental trouble if you didn't pay it back. Like I said, they were like $250, $300. I had a little work study job on campus. When I went home, I had a job I went back to that I was working in high school when I would come back from college. So I would always pay the minimum. Like if I had the money to pay it, I would pay it, and I would pay the minimum, and we would just go from there. Use the credit card, pay the minimums, use the credit card, pay the minimums, all that. I'm doing that for a long time. And then when I didn't have the money, I just didn't pay it. And so time would go on, just didn't pay it. And I feel like these companies, it wasn't a lot, y'all. It was maybe 2 or 3 wouldn't come after me because they were small amounts. So I'm like, one day I gotta croak over and die one day, and who cares if I spend all this money and don't pay it back? Like literally the dumbest. Y'all, I don't know why I thought like that, because I wasn't kingdom minded back then. Like I was saved, like, I grew up in church all my life. My parents were great examples, but you have to have your own relationship with God for yourself. And I didn't realize or understand that until I got older in age, like an adult. It seems like it's simple, but God will open up your eyes, and my eyes were open up. I was not kingdom minded. I was very earthly minded. And so I was very into I wouldn't necessarily say you have one life to live, but I was very like, you only live once. I'm gonna spend this money. I'm gonna try to keep up with the Joneses. I like nice stuff, so I'm gonna buy nice stuff, and that. Okay, so after college, I want to say is when I really started accumulating debt. Now, my biggest debt, of course, is student loans. I think I have maybe about, I don't know, maybe 60K or so of student loan debt, I want to say. Um, Maybe less. I'm not really sure. I think about 60K. But at the time, I had some student loan debt, and they weren't really coming after me for that. I was doing forbearance for a while, deferment, all of that. Where I got into trouble was, y'all, when I got my big girl job out of college, went back home, finally got kind of like you should say a corporate job when I first started in insurance. And I was making like my own money. Eventually I had moved out of my mom's house. I got my own little apartment back then when you could get a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. I was paying $625. $625. Had my little apartment, saved up, put a down payment on a car, had a brand new, this was in 2012, y'all. Had a brand new 2012 Toyota Camry. So I was smelling myself. I thought I was just that girl. I had a brand new car. I had a nice little apartment. At the time back then in the city I was living in, Peoria, Illinois, I was doing makeup a lot. So I was making money like from my corporate job, and then I was making like $300 to $400 sometimes a weekend. Granted, back then I was lowballing my prices, but I was doing like 10 girls in a weekend, only charging like maybe $30 back then. But like I was making like income to take care of myself. Bills was always paid on time. Now that's one thing I don't play with. I don't play with the rent. I don't play with the car. Okay? I don't play with the rent, and I don't play with the car. Now, when we get closer to the topic about why I started to file for bankruptcy, I had to play with the car a little bit. But hey, y'all, I had my own stuff. Like I was going to work. I was driving up to Chicago. I was going to Indiana. I was just traveling little places. Like it felt good to like finally like have my own like money to do what I wanted to do. Bills was all paid. Even the little credit cards I did have, those were being paid. Like just living the life, just living my best life. Living my best life, like shopping at Sephora, going to nice restaurants. And I did a lot of the stuff by myself. Like I can have a good time by myself. So as you get more income and you're paying off more things, now I have a car in my name, so that's helping me to build my credit, and these things are being paid on time. Credit cards companies come after you, giving you more options to get a line of credit. These retail stores I was shopping at, TJ Maxx, and what else at the time, I want to say JC. It was just a couple of retail stores I was getting credit cards at, and everything is always good when you have the income to pay it. It's when you don't have the income to pay it the things start going downhill, and then you get so used to not paying it that when you do get the income, it's like that income goes to other things, y'all. And the reason I'm telling this story is because a lot of people go through these things, and they don't talk about it. And I just want to talk about it and how I felt like I had gotten a second chance. So I'm gonna speed this story up because I have to get back into work. My lunch break is dwindling down. In my best life, I moved to Arizona. Okay. When I moved to Arizona, my job at the time moved me out there, so they paid for my move, all of that. And Arizona is definitely more expensive than Peoria, Illinois, but at the time it was very doable. And for the sake of not putting anybody else's business out there, I'm going to try to keep this very specific and tailored to me because I'm the one that filed for bankruptcy. But I will say I'm gonna just be honest, I was outside of the will of God with a lot of things. I would say in my early 20s, I was outside of the will of God with a lot of things. And I thank God for his grace and his mercy that he, one, showed mercy to me and allowed, he showed mercy, okay? He showed mercy to me, and, I ended up marrying my husband. But I was outside of the will of God during that time. I was shacked up, okay? I was shacked up and not married, okay? And with that, I was, what do they say? Why put the cow? Why buy the cow when you could get the milk for free or something like that? What's the saying? That saying? I was just doing things I should not have done, like financially, okay? Granted, we're still together now, we're married, all things work out, but I was just doing things that if I could go back and tell my younger self, I would not have done. Um, but if I wouldn't have done it, I don't know if I would have came out like, well, what I mean by that is I had a car in my name and then moved to Arizona. My husband, who is my husband now, he moved to Arizona and we started living together, okay? I'm not going to put his business out there, but he was going through some things, and a lot of the financial thing was falling back on me. And he came with his own car and all that, but his car had broke down. We're out in Arizona. It's not like it's a small city like Peoria, Illinois, or even the public transportation is not as what's the word, like, accessible. It's not that type of place like a Chicago where you can like jump on the train or catch a bus. So he needed a vehicle. So against my better judgment and being in love and just dumb, I got a vehicle in my name for him. And he paid payments and all of that, but when it started getting closer to the time, like life just started happening, y'all. And I don't even know where it took a pivotal turn, but somewhere, somehow, something shifted financially. And y'all, like, the roughest times for me was when I was living in Arizona financially. Rent was increasing. At the time, during that time, I was pregnant, okay? And so now my thought process has changed. Like, okay, I'm not living for me anymore. I'm living for a child. Like, we need better. Like, rent started increasing. I had a lot of debt owed. I had credit cards owed. At the time, I think I had to start paying my student loans back. I had my vehicle. He was paying for his vehicle. However, sometimes it was difficult to find employment. So, but because it was in my name, sometimes I had to fit that bill. And then what else? It was just a lot, y'all. He started going to school, and at the time, now when he started going to school, we were married by then. So 2018, we had got married in December of 2018. I had my firstborn poem in 2018 as well. So a lot was going on in 2018. I had got my new job and all of that, was making more money, but it was a lot more debt. I feel like the debt was catching up with me. So, I mean, y'all, when I say struggling, and it's by the grace of God that He placed people in our lives that will help us. They didn't even know that they were helping us. I mean, we had one friend who actually is a couple of our kids' godparents. One day she said God just put it on her husband's heart to give to us, like, the tithes that they would give, they gave it to us for like a couple of months. And I don't even think I expressed what we was going through, things like that. Like, people would just give us money, like, and it would be the exact amount of money that we needed for a bill. Like, it was, y'all, I was so, Arizona was nice. Me and my husband always talk about how we loved living in Arizona. Like, it was beautiful, it was pretty, but I think it was just a season for me. I don't see myself ever going back. Because although it was beautiful for me, it was a memory. Great things happened in Arizona. Like I said, I got married. I had my first child. First experience being away from family, like across the, like, there were beautiful moments, but there were also very, very painful moments in Arizona for me. And so, yeah, after having a baby, I got a new job, better pay, but I felt like I still didn't feel the difference of the pay because it was just all going out, all going out, all going out. Until one day I was drowning so much in debt. Like, I literally had people showing up to my house. Guys, I had, Dre is so funny because he kind of had a little checker past until he got saved and God is restoring him. But he's like, for me to have lived my lifestyle, you sure do got people pulling up to the house for you, y'all. I mean, served with papers. I got served with papers from a loan that I got that was like, y'all, I didn't even owe more than $2,000, but these people came after me, garnished my payments and everything from my paycheck. Like, y'all, when I tell you, I'm trying to speed it up because I don't want to be here forever. But y'all, I was going through it in Arizona. I mean, through it. I had one debt collector garnishing payments from my paycheck. So that means they take the money out. So now I'm short. One thing though, rent was always paid. But I mean, it came down to the point like with food and all of that. Like, how are we going to eat? Like, y'all, it was bad. I wish I could just sit here and go in depth about everything. But as I reflect, God kept us in that, and He didn't have to. Like, His mercy is so wonderful. I mean, He provided even though I didn't deserve provision because I knew better with a lot of stuff. He just kept us, y'all. So I was drowning in so much debt. Payments getting garnished. Um, Debt collectors coming out the hoo-wah. I had a baby. Baby needs milk. Baby needs Pampers. Baby needs this. And then also, my husband's going through the things he's going through. Y'all, it was just a lot financially, a heavy financial burden on me. And I was doing great, like, career wise, but I couldn't really enjoy that or reap the benefits of continuously getting increase in salary because it's like that had to go out to debt. So long story short, I'm like, I'm drowning so much. I have so many people coming after me. Like, I need to do something. And so I'm like, oh, let me Google and see what bankruptcy is, what the options are. Like, let me just do that. And so I started to do that, and I was like, I don't feel there's no other way out than to just have a fresh start. And you hear so many people talk about how bankruptcy is going to ruin your credit and it'll be on there for 7 years and this, that, and the third. And I was to the point where I was like, I don't care. I need a fresh start. And if I have to wait 7 years to do something, I understand what the legality and what the rules are in the world and society when it comes to bankruptcy and credit and it being on your report. But at the same time, like, I know who my God is. If the Lord knows I need a place for me and my family to lay our heads, He will provide somewhere for us to be that will accept my credit background. He will provide what we need. So I didn't put my trust in the world system when it came to, oh, let me not file for bankruptcy because I'm not going to be able to do anything with this bankruptcy. No, I said, Lord, I need a fresh start. I'm going to do this fresh start, and God, you will provide what we need when we need it when it comes to getting approved for whatever. So that's what I did. I filed. That was a scary process for me because I had to call lawyers. I didn't know who was true, who was false. I called a lawyer, and the first one I called, that's just who I went with. I mean, I didn't know. I was like, "Baby, you have to pull on your big girl pants and just do what you got to do." Called a lawyer. He was very like straight cut. He wasn't friendly, but he wasn't mean. He was just very to the point. Like, this is what's gonna happen. This is how much you need to put down. This is how much it's gonna cost, and you have to pay this before I start anything. And I don't really remember the cost, but I want to say I was able to get everything completed for under $1,500. I just remember like having to pay him, I think 3 payments of like $500 and something dollars. I don't remember, but once I paid my last payment, he filed the paperwork. I went to court and he prepped me through what to say and what to do, and then that was it. It was literally, oh, this is it. And did that. I filed in 2019 and got my discharge papers December of 2019. Like I mentioned before, I had 2 cars, so the Toyota that was actually my car, I gave that up. I mean, I had stopped making those payments like months. I want to say that beginning that year I literally could not afford it. And so I'm like, well, this Toyota is far behind. Let's just keep paying on my husband's car, my then boyfriend husband's car at the time, because I'm like, we got to keep one of these cars, so let's just keep paying on this one. So lost the Toyota in that, and that's fine. Actually, I lost both vehicles. The Toyota got repossessed, I believe, because I just stopped paying on that. But after I really forgot the transition of the second vehicle, which was, it was a Dodge Challenger. Um, but long story short, something happened with that. I don't know if that was in the bankruptcy, so we had to give that up or what. I don't even remember, to be quite honest. But both cars had to go, and it's just amazing how, now that I'm looking back on everything, how it played out. Because after the car left, we had to get another vehicle. I mean, we had a baby now. How are we going to get around? How are we going to work? And after you file for bankruptcy, there's always these programs, and dealerships are after you, saying they can get you a good price and all of that. Long story short, we got a different vehicle through this bankruptcy program, and we were able to afford the payments. It felt really good just not having to deal with all that debt. The only debt I had at the time was the new vehicle that we got, and then my student loans, because that ain't going nowhere. So it felt so good to have a fresh start. I really felt like I had a fresh start. And at that time too, we were moving from Arizona to Atlanta, and with that, we literally packed the U-Haul and we drove to Atlanta area. We stayed with friends, the same, my daughter's godmoms and dad. We stayed with them, I want to say, for 2 or 3 months. I don't even think it was 3 full months, maybe 2.5 months. And then from there, guys, like when we left, after bankruptcy was filed, we left Georgia. I really felt like I had a clean slate. Like, all the bills were paid on time. Like, I know when the pandemic happened, the world shut down. A lot of people were in misery, but I felt like those were the best. I was truly blessed during that time. Like, I was truly blessed during that time. No one was out spending money. I mean, where we were at, all of our bills were paid. Like, they were paid on time. We didn't have a real struggle. Like, if we needed groceries, we could get groceries. It was good for a really long time. And I want to say maybe 2023, after I started building my credit back up and things like that, here come the credit cards offering me credit again. But this time it was like $2,000-$3,000 lines of credit, because by this time my credit was really nice. It was going up. You know, I was paying everything on time. The cars, everything was being paid on time. And so I opted into getting a credit card or two again. And this time around, I was paying on my credit card, paying them. Credit was really good. We moved into the house that we're in now. No issues, no problems. Things were really good until they weren't. And I wouldn't even say they weren't, but if you've been following along on my journey these last 2 years, you guys know September of 2023, we had a financial change. I didn't go into it too much as to what actually changed, but our financial situation changed in my family, and it took a hit a little bit it took a hit. And so where the money that I was putting into the credit cards and the debt that I had to stop, because it had to go into other things. And I'm nowhere near. Yes, I am. I was going to say I'm nowhere near how it was before. But when I really sit back and look now, I feel like I am. But the difference is, I know what I know now, and I know how to do better. And thankfully, I have a job where they do offer bonuses and things of that nature, where I can put money down and get out of the situations that I'm in. So although I had a clean slate, I kind of think like I put myself back into a hole. But now I know how to climb out of the hole, and I'm going to climb out of the hole. And I feel like this video just took a little turn, because it was just going to be, look at my bankrupt story, here is what happened, here where I am, and here where it is now. And as I'm talking through it, I realized some mistakes that I made. Just because I could have gotten the credit cards don't mean I necessarily should have or needed to. And it comes back to having self-control. What I know God is really working with me on this year is self-control. having self-control, not being impulsive, not having to feel like I need to have things, you know. I'm more confident this time around. Whereas before, bankruptcy was the answer for me then. It's not for me now. I'm not nowhere. I will say I'm not nowhere near where I was before. It's just a couple of credit cards that your girl got to start paying down. And I will get those paid down. But I still wanted to come on here and give you guys this story because people go through real life things. And a financial burden is a heavy burden to have. It is a heavy burden to have. And I'm not saying that bankruptcy is the answer for everybody, but for me at that time, bankruptcy was the answer. It literally gave me a clean slate. It gave me a clean slate to build my way back up. And I was able to build my way back up in less than 7 years. And although I have a couple credit cards now that I'm starting to pay back into now after that situation, it just showed me, like, sometimes you have to take the path that you need to take. Like, especially if you're a believer in Christ. Like, I'm not saying that bankruptcy is the answer for everybody. It's not, okay? If you have much, you need to pay your debts, basically. You need to pay your debts. But at that time, I felt like I had no other option. Like, literally, like I said, y'all, people were garnishing my payments. And I'm like, this is the money that I need to keep the household running, to get my baby some milk, to this, that, and the third. And it was the answer for me at the time. I pray I'm never in a situation where I have to do that again, which I don't think I will. But I am learning to have a better relationship with money. And one of the things with being at that dinner last night, I will say, is that I was around some very successful people. I mean, not only were we talking about insurance, but they were talking about their rental properties, and they were talking about the stock market, and they were talking about all these other things. And I was just sitting there like, I need to do better. Like, I need to set up some things that my children can have or take over. And I'm not even talking about starting a new business. That's not the only thing. But setting up something where they have a step up, you know? I just need to do better. So yeah, that's what happened with my bankruptcy story, y'all. I filed for bankruptcy. I got a clean slate. I was able to start over and get a better credit history. Life happened again for me, but not as detrimental as before. And I found myself in a little bit of a pickle, but I'm getting out of it now, and I'm hopeful. And I hope that you're hopeful too. So if you're in a financial situation, where you feel like you're just drowning in debt, pray about it and ask God what you should do. Like, what steps you should take to get out of there. And know that it will get better. Okay? All right, y'all. So I'm about to head back in. My sandwich got cold. I'm about to head back into work because I got a couple hours left. I'm leaving on time today. And yeah, I'll see y'all in another video.